Imagine a world where every 3 seconds, a human life is extinguished by conflict. This wasn't a nightmare, it was the reality of the 1940s. World War II was the deadliest conflict in human history, involving over 100 million people from over 30 countries. But how did the world fall into such darkness, and why does the shadow of this war still loom over our modern lives? Today, we unearth the backstory, identify the moment the tide turned, and explain why these events dictate your world today. To understand the Second World War, we must first look at the failures of the First. The Treaty of Versailles in 1919 wasn't a peace, it was a pause. Germany was left humiliated, economically broken, and desperate for a savior, no matter how radical. The Great Depression of 1929 acted as the ultimate catalyst, destroying global trade and fueling the rise of extremist ideologies. In the East, Imperial Japan was expanding rapidly, seeking resources to fuel its growing industrial and military might. By the mid-1930s, the League of Nations watched helplessly as the global order crumbled under the weight of ambition and resentment. The invasion of Poland in 1939 was the spark that ignited the powder keg. The era of blitzkrieg, or lightning war, had begun. For 2 years, the Axis powers seemed unstoppable, sweeping across Europe and deep into North Africa. The fall of France left Britain standing alone, a lone island fortress against a continent of steel. Then, in 1941, 2 massive strategic blunders changed the course of history forever. Hitler's invasion of the Soviet Union, Operation Barbarossa, opened a front that would swallow millions of soldiers. Simultaneously, the surprise attack on Pearl Harbor brought the sleeping giant, the United States, into the fray. The world was now locked in a total war, where every factory and every citizen was a part of the war machine. The year 1942 arrived, and with it, the most critical turning point of the entire conflict, the Battle of Stalingrad. In the frozen ruins of this Soviet city, the German Sixth Army was encircled and decimated. This wasn't just a military defeat, it was a psychological collapse. The myth of Nazi invincibility was shattered. In the Pacific, the Battle of Midway saw the U.S. Navy sink 4 Japanese aircraft carriers, halting their expansion. By 1944, the Allies were ready to reclaim Western Europe. D-Day was the largest seaborne invasion in history. As the Allies closed in from both east and west, the horrific reality of the Holocaust was revealed to a stunned world. The discovery of the concentration camps changed our understanding of human cruelty and the necessity of international law. In 1945, the war reached its terrifying conclusion with the deployment of the first atomic bombs over Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The war was over, but the world was unrecognizable. The old colonial empires were dead, and 2 new superpowers emerged. Why does this history matter now? Because the institutions that govern your life were born in the ashes of 1945. The United Nations was created to ensure that a global conflict of this scale would never happen again. The technology we use today, from jet engines to radar and even the early foundations of computers, came from wartime innovation. Nuclear deterrence, which has prevented direct war between major powers for 80 years, is a direct legacy of the Manhattan Project. The borders of modern Europe and Asia were drawn by the generals and politicians of the 1940s. We also learned the importance of human rights, leading to the Universal Declaration that protects individuals today. But the scars remain. Geopolitical tensions in Ukraine or the South China Sea often echo the unresolved issues of the past. Propaganda and misinformation, perfected during the war, have now migrated to our digital screens. Understanding the rise of authoritarianism in the 1930s helps us recognize the warning signs in the 21st century. History is not just a list of dates, it is a map of human behavior and a guide for our future. The millions who died left us a message that peace is fragile and must be defended every single day. We see their legacy in our freedoms, our medicine, and our global connectivity. As we look at the world today, we must ask ourselves, Are we repeating the mistakes of the past, or have we truly learned? The echoes of the great turning points in Stalingrad and Midway still vibrate through our current military doctrines. The shift from industrial warfare to information warfare is the next chapter in this long story. Our global economy, built on the Bretton Woods system post-war, is what allows us to trade across oceans instantly. Even the space race was a direct byproduct of V-2 rocket technology developed during the war. We live in the longest period of relative peace between major powers, known as the Long Peace. But this peace is not guaranteed. It requires the constant effort of every nation and every individual. As we conclude our journey through the backstory and turning points of the World War, remember that you are a part of this story. Your world was built by those who survived. The choices made in the 20th century are the foundations of the 21st. The backstory taught us about the dangers of neglect. The turning point taught us about the power of resilience. And the why it matters shows us that history is never truly in the past. It is living, breathing, and shaping every decision our leaders make today. So next time you look at a map, or read the news, remember the cost of the lines drawn there. If you found this deep dive into history valuable, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon. Understanding the past is our only hope for a better future. What part of World War II history surprises you the most? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and stay curious about the world around you.